Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw.
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw.
That's it. That's
Caw-caw.
That's the patriotism that this country needs right there.
So are we supposed to start?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, listener, to I've Had It podcast, starring Meemaw Drag, Meat Curtain Meemaw, and myself, Jennifer. I hope everybody is doing well today because we have an action-packed episode in store for you. Starting with Meemaw, what have you had it with?
Okay, what I've had it with, and this just goes all through me, is when people say they're life coaches. And I know for a fact that their life is a huge shit show, which I'm not judging because my life is a huge shit show. But for me to roll around and say I'm a life coach, it's embarrassing. We had a perfect example. You and I were together. We had a girlfriend. And I said, what's so-and-so doing nowadays? And she said, well, she's a life coach. And Jennifer's talking to somebody else. And I'm like, Jennifer, because we both know she's the most fucked up person we've ever met. And the thought that she is parading around as a life coach. I mean, like, we need qualifications on this. How many times have you been divorced? I mean, like all your records, your credit score. I mean, we need all kinds of information.
Results.
STD results would be number one. I mean, just the audacity to say you're a life coach.
It's life coach fraud.
Oh my, it should be, don't do what I do, coach.
It is unbelievable. There are a lot of professions that people just can attach their name to and say they're that.
Right.
Like, I'm an influencer. Right. I'm a photographer.
I'm a life coach.
I'm a life coach. And I have met probably 3 to 4 people in my life that I knew as something other than being a life coach. And I knew them for quite a significant amount of time. And then I'm talking about ancillary people in my life, just like you and I that day. And I'm like, well, what have you been up to? And this one woman that I know, she looked me straight in the eye. She was like, well, I'm a life coach. And I remember thinking, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? You are a stage 5 eye of the hurricane meets landfall, no insurance policy. There is no goddamn way I'm hiring you to coach a T-ball team, much less my life.
It'd be like if I started a service, how to pick the best husband. You know, I mean, it's just when someone objectively knows I have the worst picker on the planet. If I started around telling people how to pick a spouse.
It's the same as if I just started saying, if you and I leave the studio today and we go to lunch and we run into some friends, and they said, hey, Jennifer, what have you been up to? And I said, oh, I'm an astronaut.
There'd be pushback for that.
I'm an astronaut. That's what I'm up to. And they'd be like, what? Where did this come from? And maybe that's the way we need to meet the life coach proclamation with, well, I had no idea you had a degree in psychology. I did not know this.
Right.
And then they would say, well, I don't. But, you know, I'm worried about this whole unregulated practice of life coaching, considering I've met 3 to 4, and all 3 to 4 that I've met, I literally would not let coach a T-ball team of 3-year-olds.
It's unbelievable. And it just seems, in my experience, and I'm not saying this across the board, but in my own personal life experience, the people that I know that purport to be life coaches are the biggest fucking train wrecks I've ever met.
What is a life coach?
That's a great question too. What are the qualifications and what are the job duties?
Where is the regulating agency?
Right. Where is the person saying, I don't think you're a life coach?
What do you do? Like, I mean, when I think of a coach, obviously I think of sports. And so what is it like? Let's just role play for a second.
Okay.
Let's say I'm your life coach.
Okay.
So I walk into your house at 5 a.m. Good morning. Wake up. Come on, get up. Breathe. Let's meditate together. All right, now it's time to go take a shit. And here's how you're going to do that. Make sure you wipe. Make sure you get everything wiped. Did you double flush? Did you pre-flush? What are we coaching?
Right. And if you say, well, I want to talk to somebody about the issues that I'm having, why wouldn't you go to somebody that has some training in that, like a therapist?
You know what I think this is? I think it's a racket.
There's no question it's a racket.
And I also think this is probably something that's uniquely American. I don't know that, but I'm thinking that. I'm thinking that this is a rah, sis, boom, bah type racket situation because I'm excluding, of course, all therapists, grieving circles and community support groups where people go to get help. Those are real. Those are helpful. The science backs all of that. What is the life coach coaching?
Right. What are the job duties?
What do you wear a whistle around your neck? Do you have a clipboard?
Do you give a pre and post game?
What the fuck's going on with the life coaching?
How was your poop? Was it great? What was the consistency? What are we talking about? You need to eat more fiber.
I don't know. It's something we should look into, the life coach situation, because I agree with you. The people that I've met that have done a midlife profession change to life coaches, I was shocked as shit.
Shocked.
It would be like you and I saying we're life coaches.
Right.
We have no business coaching anybody else in life.
No.
All right. Let me tell you what I've had it with.
Okay.
Undecided voters.
Yeah, I don't understand how this happens either. I've kind of had it with that too.
Undecided. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I was watching the news the other morning and it's like, I interviewed a focus group of undecided voters. And I thought, why are we even talking to these people? You have seen on full display everything that is Trumpism. You've seen all of it. You've seen the court cases. You've seen the 3 a.m. caps lock tweets. You've seen the makeup application. You've seen every ounce of it. And the fact that you're waffling on who to vote for, have a backbone. Seriously, how on earth is anybody undecided at this stage in the political race? I have had it up to my eyeballs, and I've had it with the media acting like this is the holy grail of the election and putting them all on a panel and getting their opinion as though they're going to have some aha moment that nobody's thought of. And the media's like, we're trying to get to the heart of what the undecided voters think. And I was like, I'll tell you what the undecided voters think. They're crying out for attention. These are wafflers. These are lollygaggers. These are pussyfooters. Don't give them the time of day. Don't enable it. I have had it up to my eyeballs. If you're an undecided voter, go ahead and don't listen anymore. Make up your goddamn mind. Either go with the cult or don't, but I've had it.
Yeah, no, it's hard to take sometimes because I'm like, when I was growing up, when I was like, 10, 11, 12, just kind of entering the world, you didn't have all of the forms of media that you have now. Like if you needed a fact, you went to the library or you looked at an encyclopedia. Like you didn't have real-time information about anything. You watched the, 5 o'clock news or whatever. Now, all you would have to do is one Google search. It would just take less than 30 seconds.
I'm going to just be a lot more blunt. If you were watching TV on January 6th, give me a break. If you've seen this man with his slurred speech clearly in the early to mid stages of dementia, the makeup application, the E. Jean Carroll, the stealing classified documents and taking them to Mar-a-Lago and storing them in your horribly decorated bathroom.
Horrible.
It's just, give me a break. If you've heard the cruelty that he projects onto women, give me a break. I mean, if you've seen the shit show of all the nepotism with all of his kids working in the White House, give me a break. I have completely had it. That you're an undecided voter in this election. Bullshit. You're a grandstander. You're an attention seeker. You're a waffler. I mean, have some moral clarity and get a backbone. For God's sakes, it's just ridiculous that somebody that is breathing and like, you know what? Hire a life coach if you're undecided.
The
Hire a life
undecided
coach.
voters need life coaches.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah. I mean, I've had it. All right, Kiley, what's going on?
I've got some 5-star reviews for you.
Excellent.
This one is titled Gratitude from a Boomer. And they write, these self-deprecating bitches are oxygen and sunlight to this old liver-spotted lefty patriot who lives in the MAGA cesspool of Florida. Much respect to you Okies with the southern twang, foul mouths, camel toe, and dysfunctional husband. You've succeeded in sustaining this ancient woman. I hang my American flag and declare myself a patriot loudly.
Caw, caw.
Oh, Mima, it is.
How great is that?
It
It makes
is.
me so happy.
It is great. And I do need to say, sometimes we kind of beat up on boomers. Boomers did a lot of cool shit. There are a lot of awesome
boomers.
My parents are boomers, and they vote for the most marginalized people around them against their own economic interest and always have. And there are a lot of people. My parents didn't just do that in a vacuum. There are a lot of boomers that fought the good fight, that marched, that have really wanted to see progress and equality for people that the right wing wants to oppress. And so kudos to our 5-star reviewer.
Kudos, especially she's in Florida. I'll tell you something. Just a reminder, we ran into a guy the other day that was a boomer. And he came up, he's straight. Came up, he's like, girls, I love your podcast. We got in the car and we were high-fiving. We were so excited.
Oh, he lives in Michigan half the year
Yes.
and in Oklahoma City the other half.
We were so excited.
He listens, this straight man from Michigan, shout out to you,
Yes.
listens to our podcast when he goes on his walks. And he's a boomer.
And he's a boomer.
And
I mean, this is a great week.
You know what? It is.
It really
And
is.
you know what? The boomers are welcome.
The boomers are welcome as long as they're not watching Fox News.
As long as they're not Trumpers.
That's right. That's our line in the sand.
All right, this last one is 5 stars, and they write, I've been meaning to write you two old bitches a 5-star review for weeks, but I keep popping Viagra, and after the 4 to 6 hour-long erections, I haven't had the bandwidth or arm strength to get around to it till now.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. It says that right on the label.
Right on the
Right on the
label.
commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I do still intend on rolling that out the next time Josh and I are invited to something and I need to cancel last minute because I want to spend time with my dogs versus going out in the public. I am going to say, hey, we've got to cancel. Josh has a erection, and according to the instructions, this thing's going to last 4 to 6 hours. So we're out tonight. So sorry to cancel last minute.
That might be the best excuse in history.
I know.
Because it's like, okay, bye-bye. And then you never get invited back to anything else. So it's perfect.
Yeah, I can't.
Checks all the boxes.
I can't wait to roll that out. All right, listener, today we have a guest which we are so excited to host. Her name is BenDeLaCreme, and she is RuPaul's Drag Race breakout, award-winning comedian, director, and star of the acclaimed annual Christmas tour. She also has founded a new political action committee of Drag Race stars that wants to mobilize Gen Z voters.
Fantastic.
So let's welcome to I've Had It, BenDeLaCreme. Pumps, our ability to suck and then wake up the next day and suck more than the previous day is undefeated.
It's unparalleled. We are the champions.
If you would like to see how bad we suck, please join us in Seattle in September or New York City in November for, just some world-class shit talking.
That's right.
Live
and in person.
That's right. Pumps. Ozempic and Wegovy are all the rage, but I hear they're really difficult to come across.
Yes, I've had so many friends that want to get on these medications for weight loss like I have, but they can't find access. I have not had that problem because I get my medication through Roe.
Listener, through Roe, you can access prescription compound GLP-1s with the same weight loss ingredient as brand name GLP-1s at a fraction of the cost. Roe has compounded GLP-1s in stock now. You can get it in 1 to 4 days if you qualify. All you have to do is go to roe.com/hadit. Memberships start at just $99 for your first month. Medication costs are separate. That's ro.co/hadit. Go to ro.co/safety for black box warning and full safety information. Compounded medication is not required to and does not receive FDA review or approval. Prescription only. Pumps, I have found the key to my serenity is time management. The better I manage my time, the happier I am, the more time I have to play tennis and pickleball. So therefore, when it comes to mailing and shipping things, I have found Stamps.com to be the ultimate time manager.
What I love so much about Stamps.com is it's available 24/7. You don't have to go from 9 to 5 to the post office.
Listener, take care of mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go with Stamps.com. All you need is a computer and printer. They even send you a free scale. Easily schedule package pickups through your Stamps.com dashboard. Automatically see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers. Listener, free up more time for more important business with Stamps.com. Sign up at Stamps.com and enter code HADIT for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. That's Stamps.com, code HADIT. All right, listener, let's welcome to I've Had It, BenDeLaCreme. Ben, how are you today?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. I'm excited to be here with you guys. How are you all?
We are top-notch, super
Great.
excited. I mean, we love to shit talk and bash shit and shit stir, all that stuff.
I'm in. I'm ready. I don't know if I can keep up, but I'll try.
You must have a plethora of petty grievances. I mean, you must. You hang out with drag queens all the time. You're a human that lives in the United States of America. It would be impossible for you not to have had it with stuff. So what have you had it with?
Well, I mean, this is a segue out of all that heavy stuff we were talking about, but there's this in-between space that we have to live in as drag queens, right? Where I'm constantly having to talk about how, as a kid, it would have been really great for me to see drag, to understand there was a place for me as a queer person and how I want to be that representation for kids. But I have had it with having to navigate this in-between space where both things are true, where it's yes, all that, and also I am not interested in your children in my space. I don't need them at my show. I don't need them on my flight. I don't need them in the same theater that I'm in the audience in. I don't even need them in the aisle in Walgreens. They are not my first choice of folks to share space with. And, I was just in Provincetown, Massachusetts, for folks who don't know, is like a sort of gay, historically gay vacation spot that every single summer I go there, there are more of those triple wide strollers coming down this.
Oh, yeah.
I am trying to enjoy the view of like bears in leather harnesses on the street. And you don't want us to come near your kids, but you're going to bring them down. Listen, I do not want to have to walk around this pram that is also a land yacht. It's exhausting to navigate that space between I want your kids to have potential access to what I do to help them, and also I cannot tell you how disinterested I am in being around them if they don't already want to be there.
I think that's a pretty good point.
That is a great point. I was just going to tell you, when you were talking about your story with the strollers, like you go to this vacation, that's exactly how I feel when I go on a girls' trip or something. And somebody has their kid at the pool. I'm like, I didn't fly 3,000 miles to get away from my own fucking kids to be around your piece of shit at the pool. Like, I think there should be resorts and vacation spots exclusively for children. And they have the great adult spots where you can go where it's adults only. But all the ones I know are swingers.
Oh.
What are you going?
Yeah,
Are you going to swinger?
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm out on the swinger.
Have you been at some swinger resorts, Pops?
No, but that's the only like all adult only resort that I can think of is the swingers.
I think she's thinking of these swinger resorts. Have you been to a swinger
I mean,
resort?
I've never been to a swinger resort, but also, it's harder to pinpoint a swinger in the gay community. We're much more loosey-goosey with how we operate in that regard. So, there's no like key party necessary in a gay resort.
Okay. We emailed with you prior to coming on. I want you to talk about your frustrations with driving.
Oh my God. I moved to Los Angeles 4 years ago. And before that, I lived in Seattle, where you don't have to drive anywhere. So I haven't driven in years before I moved to Los Angeles, but I still remember what I learned in driver's ed. I remember that the left is the passing lane and the right's where you go slow. But there are decisions being made that have absolutely nothing to do with spatial awareness. And when a car in the left lane and a car in the middle lane are driving at exactly the same speed, I mean, they are the automobile equivalent of that double wide baby stroller. And all I am trying to do is go 10 miles over the speed limit. Is that so much to ask?
I think driving brings out the worst in everyone. Whenever I have somebody like that, I just get incensed. And then I start making up this whole narrative about him, like they fucking suck. They're probably a Trumper. They're probably on their way to a MAGA rally. They're stupid, like all that. They're just these awful people. And then I get up and I'm like, okay. Or this morning, I had to take my son to the airport. And on the way back, this car was like in the middle and not moving. And then other cars were flying past. So I'm stuck in the middle and I can't get around him. You know what I did? Because by the time we went a mile, I had this whole narrative in my head about him. And I went by him, and then I kind of, like, I didn't have to cut as close as I did, but I did it on purpose, like, go fuck yourself. You ever found yourself doing that?
Yeah, sadly I have.
I mean, it brings out the worst.
I recently did that. First of all, yes, I am always behind the wheel raging and thinking about, I am such a good, considerate person. Why aren't any of you? I'm like so mad about how nice I feel like I actually am. But I recently had the same experience in an airport where I am, as a drag queen at any given moment, I have like 4 70-pound roller suitcases that I'm trying to navigate through. And then there are just these people who will like stand in the middle of the airport or do those long, lazy diagonals looking backwards over their shoulders. And I just mowed a woman right over the other day. And you know what? I pretended it was an accident. It was in no way an accident. She deserved that tread mark over her heel.
Okay, Ben, I want to ask you, you have some interesting takes on LA versus New York, and I want you to share with our listener this take.
It is unpopular. So as I said, I live in LA now, and LA people will defend this city to the death, even though they don't really like it all that much. But as originally an East Coaster, people talk a lot here about how negative New York is. New York is where people will actually just tell you authentically how they're doing. When someone says, "How are you in LA?" the answer is always amazing. Fabulous. Incredible. And it's always some sort of like pitch, right? They're energetically telling you that they just got the gig or whatever, right? Because every conversation is a job interview in this town. But in New York, I miss when you ask somebody how they are and they just say, I am terrible. I'm having an awful day, right? It's like, I want to hear that. Let me know that I am not alone in having deeply terrible days. I feel like that's like, we need to normalize telling people that we're not doing well. Like, what is that question even for post-pandemic? Why are we asking?
Of course we're fucking mad. Of course we're depressed.
Oh, it really is a thing where everyone is trying to convince you and themselves that they really enjoy it here. before I moved to LA, I was talking to a friend and I was like, I know it would make sense to move there for work, but I don't want to live in LA. And they said, oh, girl, none of us want to live in LA. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That sort of explains this over exuberance
Right.
about why everybody is trying to convince you and themselves that they like it.
This is one of my favorites. So if I'm out, we're traveling somewhere, and Pumps and I travel a lot for our tour, or if I'm traveling with my family and somebody says, where are you from? I say Oklahoma City. And there's this, it's a palpable like cringe, like, oh my God, she's a Trumper. I can't believe she's from there. Like, oh, nice. I'm like, it's really not, but whatever. Where are you from? And they'll say, LA. And then I always do a follow-up question now. I go, but where are you really from? And then they'll say, Kentucky. And I'm like, there you have it, sis.
Yes.
There you fucking have it. You're from LA every bit as much as I'm from LA. But I love it. It's the people who try to claim geographic superiority that aren't even from these places. And LA is the one. There was a guy that used to live in Oklahoma City. I know a couple of them. And they moved to LA and they try to go out there and cut their teeth. And it's a dog eat dog. Amazing. Everybody's pitching the whole thing. Well, lo and behold, they head back to Oklahoma City. And the ego that arrived back in this place after the failed attempt in Los Angeles was something that I just couldn't even wrap my head around. I want to be like, you fucking came back. Quit acting like your shit doesn't stick. You didn't make it. It didn't happen for you. You came back. Pumps, my shower routine has morphed into a tropical paradise thanks to Osea's new Undaria Algae Body Wash. Its iconic, all-natural, uplifting, citrusy scent is just fabulous.
The Undaria Algae Body Wash has turned normal showering into a self-care ritual for me.
Their products provide a gentler, plant-based cleansing experience with an all-natural scent that won't give you a headache. Its pH-balanced, hydrating formula doesn't strip skin, leaving it soft and renewed. Listener, upgrade your shower with clean, vegan face and body care from Osea. Right now, you can get 10% off your first order site-wide with code HADIT at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. Head to OseaMalibu.com and use the code HADIT for 10% off. Homes.com knows that when it comes to home shopping, it's never just about the house or condo. It's about the home. And what makes a home is more than just the house or property. It's the location and neighborhood. If you have kids, it's also schools, nearby parks, and transportation options. That's why Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth information they need to find the right home. And when I say in-depth, I'm talking deep. Each listing features comprehensive information about the neighborhood, complete with a video guide. They also have details about schools with test scores, state rankings, and student-to-teacher ratio. They even have an agent directory with the sales history of each agent. So, when it comes to finding a home, not just a house, this is everything you need to know, all in one place, Homes.com. We've done your homework. Okay, we're going to play a game with you called Had It or Hit It. Oh my God. Welcome to Had It or Hit It. I would hit it. Had it. I hit it every day, sometimes twice a day. All right. Had it or hit it, Pride Month.
I don't even notice Pride Month anymore. It just comes and goes. This June, I had so many people say Happy Pride to me, and I had to stop and think about what they were talking about. My year round is trotting around in sequins and high heels for people who are excitable. So I know that is like a month where we have a lot of historical significance that I will always colloquiate from a mountaintop about all of our historical strives. But as far as just, dressing up and being at a Pride event, I would much prefer to do what I do on the regular, which does not have anything to do with sunlight on my makeup or my high heels on cement.
That's fair.
All right. Had it or hit it, Halloween.
That's another one that's the amateur night. Everyone's like, what are you going to be for Halloween this year? I'm like, a drag queen. I'm going to be a drag queen for Halloween, same as I am the other 364 days. But, Halloween is when every gay man buys a tube dress and, and enters the room like he's the most fabulous thing that has ever walked through those doors. And we all sit on the side and sip our martinis and look at them and we say, good for you, atta girl.
Hashtag almost.
Okay. Had it or hit it, Vice President Kamala Harris.
I think you mean President Kamala Harris.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, I'm speaking not on behalf of Drag Pack because they are not behind it, but as myself, I am so excited that we have this new energy happening right now. And I think what a lot of people don't understand who have like a specific grievance or something that they disagree on is, yeah, that's okay. We get her into office and then we start to press her on that. And that is how it works. That is the system. And I absolutely, it is a very, in my mind, it is a little bit of a privileged position to look at the situation and say, you know what, there is one or two causes that mean I am going to vote third party. Well, then you don't have enough at stake. If you are not doing everything in your power to keep Trump out of office, then you are just not realizing the long-term effects because all the things you don't like are still going to be there and a hell of a lot more.
Right.
I agree. I think it's selfish. And before you came on at the top of the episode, Pumps and I talk about what we've each had it with. What I've had it with, DeLa, is undecided voters. Shut the fuck up. How on earth have you not made your mind up? I mean, I can't even take it anymore. I mean, it's just not that difficult of a decision if you're a decent person. Now, if you're a nut in a cult and some crazy ass Bible thumper, I get it. Trump's your guy. Swing for the fences. I don't like it, but that's who you are. Y'all have made it crystal clear. But if you're a decent person, exactly, you go with the gist of the person. Maybe some people are one-party voters. I think that's really selfish. I think at the end of the day, and Pumps and I are privileged white women, but at the end of the day, I vote for the most marginalized people in our community because I believe collectivism is the best way to live, what's best for all of us, not just what's best for me, Jennifer Welch, the white woman. I would not feel good about myself doing that. But I'm an atheist. And then I find myself, all these Christians that I live around, they vote in the most disgusting ways for the most disgusting person that I've ever seen. And I'm just mystified by it all. And they make me absolutely crazy, these religious hypocrites. I mean, I could go on and on. I could have a whole podcast just about I've had it with religious hypocrites because, I have had it.
I mean, I do a holiday show every year and we put out our promo in July because that's how ticket sales work, but and I cannot tell you this year more than ever the number of comments that we have in this section talking about Jesus is king, this is demonic, put the Christ back in Christmas, blah blah blah. I'm like, first of all, Jesus is queen and she would have loved us. Are you kidding? Jesus was rocking it with like lepers and prostitutes. Drag queens are like absolutely where the party's at. So
it's just crazy. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a bigger walking commercial against Christianity than these people who speak about it the most. I know immediately when somebody tells me around this community, when they tell me what church they go to, and if it's a specific mega church, there's one called Life Church, I know immediately who they're voting for. I know they're anti-LGBTQIA+. I know that they, get offended about really petty things, but they don't go hard in the paint for, real human suffering. I know that they probably demonize poor people and think it's not their problem. And I'll tell you what, it's exhausting. I mean, when you are a liberal and you live around this, now I have to say in Oklahoma City, there's a lot of very open-minded people and we have a great gay community. But when you get right around it, these people are just so morally duplicitous and they have no backbone. It grosses me out and it's exhausting. I find it lately, and I think probably our listener and drag queens and everybody, it's been exhausting being an American lately. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted with it.
It is absolutely, which is why I think intersectionality and allyship in that way that you're talking about is so important, because we all can't like carry our own battle over the finish line. It's like, women and queer people and people of color and all the people who are combinations of those things. It's like we need a second to rest and catch our breath, and for the other person to carry it for a minute, right? Like as a white man, I need to both advocate for people of color and for women and folks whose reproductive rights are on the line,
Right.
because I need them to advocate for me, because we
Yes.
cannot all just be out here shouting for ourselves. It's energetically too draining.
I like the way
Totally
you
agree.
put that,
Yeah.
that you need to advocate for women because you need women to advocate for you. And I think that is just probably some of the best messaging I've heard this cycle. I mean, truly, that's a really good, I'm going to start using that with our listeners because we're trying to do what we can do to help get out the vote. And I'm so proud of your political action committee. I'm so honored that you came to be on our podcast. And I'm so glad that we're all on the right side of this moment to help women, to help minorities, to help the LGBTQIA plus community, which in red states like ours, Trumpism is already in full swing, and people in your community that live in states like ours are really suffering because they're being bullied by their government, by our superintendent of school. And it's really, really sad. So every chance that we can highlight voices like yours and get them in the ears of people, rural queer kids or queer kids that live in deeply red states like ours, to know that people like you out there exist and they're fighting for them and that they are normal and that they are loved. We're going to take that opportunity every chance we can get. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on our podcast.
Well, thank you so much. And the way that you elevate other voices is really incredible and so appreciated. And help people know that we all agree on the important stuff, like that bad drivers should not be on the road and children should not be on the sidewalk.
Right.
I completely agree.
There's our platform.
There's our platform.
Exactly.
That's right.
Thanks so much, Ben. It was great to see you.
Thank you. It was wonderful to be here. Nice chatting with you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. I really like the way they put it, where it is, if you want people to advocate for you, then you have to advocate for them, which is why a lot of these Trumpers, it's the most selfish vote on the planet because they don't need anything from anyone.
Well,
And they don't have any desire or moral calling to help anyone. All they care about is their checkbook and taking away rights from others. And we haven't even talked about the whole book banning thing and how nutty that is. They just
It's
want to do so
crazy.
much crazy shit. It's insane.
Well, and I think people try to separate like women and the gay community and black and brown people. They're all together. They're after all of us. Unless you're white, male, Christian, you're out.
Yep.
That's their circle.
Yep.
But one thing that Ben reminded me of was, there's joy back in the campaign. There's joy back in politics a little bit. And it reminded me of all the people making fun of Kamala Harris for her laugh. And I'm like, have we ever heard Donald Trump laugh ever once? I can't think of a time. I really can't. Unless he was making fun of disabled people. That was the closest I've ever heard him get to laugh, is when he did his little make fun of disabled people.
I think that man is so abhorrent. And it is a mystery to me why so many people who claim to be people of faith can't march to vote for this man fast enough. And the one thing I will always be grateful to this man for is for exposing these religious hypocrites. Because for years living in the Bible Belt, I always knew that it was just show. Oh, well, my Lord and Savior this, and I care about that. But I knew underneath it, because I saw what they say and I saw the way they treated people. I knew underneath it, it was performative. And their vote for Donald Trump shows exactly how performative their Christianity is and how shallow it is and how racist and how homophobic and how I'm only out for my best interest. But what's going to happen to these people is one day they're going to have a gay grandkid, or their grandkid's going to fall in love with a minority, and then they're going to be thankful to people like all of us that advocated for a place for now somebody new that they love can live in safely.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Yep.
It's time.
All right, listener, listen, we are going on tour. We will be in Seattle in September. We will be at the New York Comedy Festival in November. We are still trying to get things worked out with the country of Australia so we can make it there in January. Announcement pending on that soon. Please come to Patreon. We start our post show now. Pumps, tell them.
We will see you next Tuesday or Thursday or both.
I'll tell you what I've had it with.